Hi, my name is Amber Valentine, and I am the owner of a company called Hot Mess to Hotness. And I own a weight loss program called Worth It Nutrition. Now, that came about after I went through a 300-pound transformation. Pretty impressive, right? Well, it was 100 pounds of body weight and 200 pounds of a husband that had to go. Now, today, I'm not here to tell you that you need to leave your husband or life partner to be happy. That's certainly not my message. I'm actually here today to talk to you about mindset and overcoming your own BS. There's a lot of trash in between that 6 inches between your ears, and that can determine all the other measurements in your life. I like to say that the 6 inches between your ears determines the inches around your waist because the main product of my business is weight loss, cognitive behavioral therapy, and nutrition. However, today I'm going to use my 300-pound transformation story to talk to you a little bit about what is going on inside your mind and how you can hack those things a little. I'll give you a little taste today to hit your goals. Because ultimately, it starts with you. We all hear that we need to talk nicer to ourselves and that our words really determine our trajectory, right? And the people we hang around the most. And we all know mindset's important, but do you understand why and how? Well, I'm your girl, and that's what we're going to talk about today. There are a couple things I require from you during this talk. No matter where you're listening from, I need you to get involved. Okay. I already feel weird that I'm just talking to empty space. So I need to know that on the other end to hear you're connected, you're listening, and I have your attention. I'd also love every once in a while, if you hear something that really resonates with you, if you would give me a yes, girl. Now, again, I can't hear you because you're not in the room with me, but I can feel you, okay? And I want your energy to be where my energy is. So a yes, girl, every now and again, when you hear something that really means something to you, let's do this, okay? And I'm also going to be vulnerable with you and tell you intimate details about my life story. And I want you to be open as you're hearing this to really think about whether or not that is something that you do. And if you can be honest with yourself, you can always get over your own BS, get out of your way, and get where you need to go. Because I can almost 99% surely promise you that the only thing standing between you and your goals is you. Everything else is just something that you need to move out of the way. So let me rewind for you a little bit and start my story back a couple more years ago than I would like to admit, when I was in my late 20s. I had everything that everyone else told me I needed for me to be happy. I had all of my boxes checked, right? I had the husband, the 2.5 kids, the 3 dogs, the white picket fence. I was driving a pink Cadillac and running a 6-figure business. I was on stage all the time telling my story. You couldn't tell me nothing, but I was miserable. Now, don't get it twisted. I was still cute. Yes, girl. But I was not happy. The things that were going on in my life were all the boxes that everyone else had told me to check. So I wasn't really taking care of myself in the way that I needed to. And I couldn't figure out why. If I had all the boxes checked that everyone else told me was supposed to make me happy, why I just wasn't. I also had the problem of some extra weight and had pretty much been able to slam every other goal in my life except this one. I counted calories. I spent 3 hours in the gym every day with a trainer, paid a doctor, $2,500 for a program, swallowed pills, cut out the carbs, rubbed cream on my butt. I could not lose the weight. Now, I know that this conference is mostly former or current athletes. So I know that you know the feeling of knowing what the top of your game is and not being able to get there. That's so frustrating. Or feeling like it's out of your reach, or like, I did this one time, why can't I do it now? And that's how I felt. I just couldn't hit this goal no matter what I did. Well, I went to my therapist because I'd pretty much exhausted everyone else. And I said, hey, I don't understand why I can hit all of my goals, but there's this one thing that I can't seem to achieve. And she was like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad you finally brought this up. I've been wanting to talk to you about this forever. I have an answer for you. I was like, oh, good. I will write you a check. Let's do this thing. Like, what is the answer? And she was like, hi, have you ever considered that maybe the same thing that you tell people that they need to be successful in their business life is maybe what you need to be successful in weight loss? Now, this is something I've been avoiding for a long time because I didn't want to really think about it being the same thing. I was on stage telling the story of my life and overcoming all of these amazing things and telling people that if they were scared to make money secretly deep down because they think that rich people are snobby or no one likes them, that they're not actually going to do the work to make money, they'll sabotage themselves. She's like, what if it's the same thing for weight loss? I was like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard, right? Because this was the thing in my life I didn't really want to move. And there had to be some fear deep down inside of me that was stopping it. Well, I went and I did some research, and it turns out that women hold on to weight for a couple different reasons. Now, that's not what I'm going to talk about today. And so that I can move on, I'm not going to go into detail about what I did find out when I researched that, but it's fascinating. So if you can find me online, hotmesstohotness.com, and or you are interested in the weight loss program, please go check that out. I would love for you to hear what I found out. And I did ultimately end up losing 70 pounds in 4 months once I dialed in on the mindfulness and the nutrition. And I do teach that. It is something that I offer. But again, just for time's sake, I'm going to move on in my story. Now, coming to terms with the fact that that shiny, successful, powerful, eat meals for breakfast, closing big deals and knocking them dead on stage, Amber was living out of fear was tough. Would you like to know how I changed that? Yes, girl. Yes, girl. I use meditation, affirmation, and visualization to overcome the fear. And I'm going to demonstrate a small part of how that works for here in a minute. But first, let's talk about fear. Fear comes in many forms: flying, falling, spiders, success, failure, cats. Yes, I'm afraid of cats. We'll talk about that later. And we have all heard of the false evidence appearing real and so on. But how about the fact that fear and faith require the same thing? Wrap your head around this for me for a second. Fear is an unpleasant emotion caused by belief that somebody or something is dangerous, that the situation in front of you is going to end badly. You decide from the beginning. Faith is the belief with especially strong conviction and without question, generally positive, that the situation in front of you is going to end positively. It's going to be good. They both require the same thing. They both require belief in the outcome up front. Now, you are only born with the fear of falling and the fear of loud noises. Every single other fear you have comes from someone else. I use the example of ghosts all the time. I bet most people have never seen one, but you don't really want to, do you? Why? Is it because a friend saw one and said it was scary? Is it because of a made-up Hollywood movie that told you they are terrible? What if they are real and they're actually quite lovely? How do you know? You really don't know unless you experience yourself. You're just going on what everyone else says. Every single fear you have is exactly the same way. It's a learned behavior. And I have an awesome way to unlearn and retrain your brain around these things. But if you want to learn it, you're going to have to reach out to me because I can't do that today. But I am going to give you a little taste. I promise to tell you about meditation, affirmation, and visualization that help me overcome my fears and why that is important. How many of you in here use these tools in your business growth life already? Like yes, girl. Right? Okay. So how many of you think it's weird voodoo related snake oil nonsense and would rather go hide in the bathroom than hear what I'm about to say about meditation affirmation? I get it. I felt the same way. And I agree with you. We're not going to sit in front of the mirror and repeat, I am rich, I am fit, I am beautiful, and then suddenly have all of those things, right? But inside your being, you have what I like to call a thinker and a prover. That basically means your thinker thinks up stuff and then hands it to your prover, and the prover goes to proving your thinker was thinking into existence. An easier way to say this is that your brain doesn't know the difference between what is really real and what you tell it is real. It's the same reason you can make up a dream on one side of your brain and watch it with the other side of your brain in terror. You made up the story. Why is it scaring you? Because your prover believes what your thinker tells it. And you need to hack into your thinker with visualization and affirmations. I'll give you an easy demonstration, as promised, to help you believe this a bit more, and that your thoughts can control things that you do physically without thinking about it first. Let's do a quick visualization together. So I want you to close your eyes, sit real quiet, and just for a minute, picture everything I'm about to tell you. Okay, so I want you to picture that I am standing outside the room that you are in, and I have a large plate of lemons. Okay, now picture this. I want you to see, think, and smell everything I tell you, okay, as if it's happening. I walk into the room and I am running towards you with these lemons. It is clear that I have an objective. You can see that the lemons are sliced and that the juice is all over the plate. I walk towards you and I put it right under your nose and you can smell the lemons. Now, I want you to open your mouth and you see a look on my face that lets you know that I'm going to pick up that lemon and I put it under your nose and I want you to smell it. Now I squeeze the juice and I stick it in your mouth. Just as I do that, the lemon juice goes into your mouth and runs down your chin. Okay, open your eyes. Now, you probably knew when I told you I was standing there with a cut plate full of lemons that I was eventually going to ask you to eat one, right? Now, this isn't happening in real life, but did you experience a little bit of the smell of the lemon? And if you didn't experience the smell, maybe did your mouth start watering a little bit when I told you I shoved it in your mouth? Well, obviously there's no lemon. So why did that happen? Why would your mouth water when you know very well that there isn't really a lemon in front of you? You were just making it up in your head, but your brain went ahead and physically prepared for you to bite the lemon anyway. That is because you literally act out, prepare for, and bring on what you think about. We all have been told this, but you just proved it to yourself. You act on unconscious things all the time, like blinking and swallowing and such. Mindfulness helps you hack into those unconscious things and steer them. That'd be really exciting, right? Yes, girl? Okay, so moving on, I think we can agree that we want to retrain our thinker. Now let's talk about sitting still and listening to ourselves. Meditation is like a dirty little word half the time. Some folks think it's a religion, others are too busy to sit still for 10 minutes, which is sad, and others just don't see the point. I was one of those people. However, meditation trains a muscle that you need to build now, like right now. Don't waste any more time doing this. Meditation stops the hamster wheel and strengthens the part of your brain that can separate the emotion and logical part of decision. You know, like when you eat a whole bag of chips, but you aren't actually hungry. When your kid is screaming and you pull off her shoes while you were looking for your keys and now you have to put her shoes back on for the 10th time, and not to be crappy about it. Or when that girl at work is doing that thing again that drives you crazy and you have to keep yourself from pouring your coffee in her lap accidentally, so she has to go home early and stop ruining your day. Those muscles. Let me tell you about the first time that I meditated, okay? I was told to sit down and sit still for 10 minutes, turn off everything, put a timer on my phone, and just think about nothing. And I thought, I can do anything. How difficult can that be? So I went and I sat down for a few minutes, Indian style, on the floor, back against the wall. And I thought, okay, I'm going to sit here and think about nothing. I wonder what kind of shoes I'm going to wear to my event today, and wonder what they're serving for lunch. Ooh, lunch for the kids. I need to pack lunch for the kids. Oh, I should do one of those little like Lunchables made at home, and then I can post it on social. If I wear the really cute shoes, I can post those too. Wait. I'm not supposed to be thinking about anything. Right. Okay. Hold on. Okay, I'm not thinking about anything. You know, I'm really busy. So sitting here thinking about nothing is kind of a waste of time. Like, why would I want to do that? I mean, obviously I need to go pack that lunch, or I wouldn't be thinking about, okay, wait, I'm not supposed to think about anything. Okay, hold on. I wonder if I sent that email to so-and-so today. Like, that's really important. I better get up and go do that right now. And I got mad. Okay. I didn't even make it 3 minutes. And I stood up and I was like, I am too busy for this. Like, who needs to sit still? Sitting still is just for lazy people or something. Okay. I have way too much going on. I'm way too important. And I went to stomp out of the room. And a little voice inside of me went, okay, Amber, fine. But if you won't spend 10 minutes alone with yourself, who else is going to want to? Oh my God, it hit me like a ton of bricks. I'm like, I can't quiet my mind long enough to even be comfortable just being with myself. And I'm the only one I'm going to need to be with for the rest of my life. I need to get a handle on this. So I decided right then that it was worth it to sit down and be still and spend some time with me and listen. What happens over time is that you really get to know yourself, but you also realize that you can get rid of all of the things on top of what is really going on down here. And I call that the hamster wheel. You know, that thought process that you get on, and then it just takes you around in circles and you seem to spin between all of the same kind of things. One leads to another, and you're in this like thought circle, but you never really get down here to the things that are kind of important and you're distracted. Or maybe you use social media to do that, or maybe you use, something else to do that. But whatever it is you're using to do that is the thing that you have, that's your BS. That's where you have to turn off. So you have to reprogram your thinker and be able to change the action of your prover. This is why if you just try to power your way through a problem like I did with weight loss, you won't actually get a lasting result. You can make it happen. It just won't stay that way. Good thing I figured out how to hack the whole system, right? Wait until I show you affirmations. It's amazing. But again, I can't do that today. So get in touch with me because I really want to talk to you about it, especially if you have weight that you need to lose, because I've pretty much perfected that system down to a science of being able to get out of your own way. But you have so many other voices in your head, this hamster wheel. I was operating on an underlying fear that being sexy would be dangerous, but in my conscious mind, I wanted to be hot in a bikini. I had to learn to talk to the thinker and change my own truth to be able to prove it. And that's what you need to do. Whatever it is that big goal that you have, you need to be able to reprogram your mind. Whatever is stopping you is something that is not necessarily on the surface of your mind. It's underneath the hamster wheel. So you have to sit still and think about it for a little bit. Pay attention to what's going on in your mind. Visualize where you want to go. Remember earlier when I said if you are you 100% of the time, then life gets 100% easier. That is because when you are you, it's really easy. You aren't covering up anything or pretending or acting. You're just being you. That is effortless on a daily basis. And then the people you will attract will have the same energy and focus and desires that you do. And you can speak easily to each other and work together well. When you learn to retrain your thinker, you get to control your intentions and be yourself more of the time. You aren't acting out of fear or protection or spite. You're in flow and acting out of your greatness. I do this all the time with my company, Hot Mess to Hotness. Here's the single greatest tip of the day. There is two of you going on inside of you. Before you do all this tough work of digging out the hot mess, there's this hotness, which is a great version of yourself. Take a second and think about her for a minute. You know that bad bee inside of you that when you're on fire and at the top of your game and in your flow, can't nobody tell you nothing? That girl, your best self. Do you know what she looks like? Picture her. Write down some of her traits. That is your hotness. And of course, guys, I'm sorry I'm saying her because generally my audience is women, but I'm speaking to you too, right? What is your best self? Do you know what they look like? Picture that and write it down. Now, I'm sure you're familiar with your hot mess, right? That one that can never find the car keys, always screws up pickup lines and makes things awkward unnecessarily. Is it just me? No, it's not. The one living out of fears that you haven't tackled yet, and a thinker that has gone crazy listening to everyone else. That is your hot mess. Can you picture them? Probably easily. Now that you have them both in your mind, here's your survival tip. Whenever you have a problem that seems scary and impossible and you just can't seem to see your way around it, I want you to sit down and think to yourself, if I was in my hotness, my absolute best version of myself, what would that person do right now? The one that knows they can't fail, lives out of faith, believes in their intention, shines like a supernova. What would that person do if they had to make this decision? Now go sit down and write out what your hotness self looks like in detail. What do they eat, wear, say? Visualize that. How do they make people feel? How do they handle trouble? The next time the world is crashing down and you want to pull out your hotness survival guide from you to you. And now what if I ask you to write a paper on why you can't be that person all the time? Pro tip. That one's free. The next one's like $1 million, okay? Because it's life-changing stuff. You are welcome. Like really, you can be that person all the time. You just have to make a conscious effort to really get out of your own way and stop that hamster wheel from keeping you from doing what you need to do. Now, I feel like I made that last point sound easy. And I know social media has us all believing that everyone just walks around in perfection all the time and has their together, right? Well, let me tell you for sure, anyone who tries to tell you everyone has their stuff together is selling you something and it stinks. No one has it together. And honestly, that isn't how we make friends anyway. Who is really friends with someone because you were acting perfectly and they were acting all perfect and you two were like, oh my God, we're so perfect, we should be friends? No one. Never gonna happen. You all have friends you bonded with over something or someone that you hate, or you saw them being petty over something and you catch yourself being petty over and thought, me and this chick are going to get along great, right? It's in our perfections that we draw other to us. Prove me wrong. We don't want to hang with perfect people that make us feel inadequate. We want to grow with people who are like-minded and hot messy like us. So I have a leadership story about this, and then I want to close with a big thought for you. No one wants to visit you on your high horse, but almost anyone will help you get yourself like together when things are crazy. So let me tell you a story. I used to run that big company, like I told you. Now I run another big one. But before, it was something based on image outside and not necessarily who I really authentically was. And one of my jobs was to recruit people and to use the high amount of money that I was making to be very flashy. And I'm really good at that. I like attention, if you haven't picked that up yet. So it was a lot of fun for me to drive the pink Cadillac and wear the $600 suits and be dripping with diamonds all the time and taking trips all over the place and to be on stage. Okay, I loved it. Really fed my ego. Well, I also love high heels, and there was a fashion piece to that business. So I remember one time I was in LA and all of the people that I kind of wanted to impress or were supposed to impress were in a Starbucks in the hotel that I was coming down the elevator of. Well, the elevator is a big glass elevator, so it was like right in the middle, and it opened up to this big escalator, 2-story escalator that went down to the Starbucks, and the Starbucks was glass. So everybody could see me, and I knew it, and I looked good that day, okay? So I had on my suit, I had on my diamonds, I was ready to go, and I came out like, hi, hello, but I also had my suitcase because I had just gotten there, right? And my purse on my arm. And I walked out and I made sure everybody could see me. I was like, hi, look at me. I'm so cute. Oh my God, I'm here, right? And I stepped onto the escalator in my high heels, making a big deal about, my presence. And just as I stepped onto the escalator, my purse and my bag like got jumbled up somehow and like turned the corner around the backside of the escalator and got stuck. I don't know what it got stuck on. I don't know what was over there, but my arm was pinned behind the edge of the escalator and my feet were going down the escalator. So now everybody's watching as I let out a scream. My shoes come flying off and I am now bumping like this on the escalator, screaming with my arms stuck and my shoes flying all over the place. Okay. Some poor woman who saw this from the platform lets out a scream, goes around, unhooks whatever's going on with my bag, and in a big heap of a mess, everything lets go, and I fall onto the middle of the escalator with my bag. My shoes are already at the bottom, and I'm like putting myself back together, putting my shoes on at the bottom, gathering my bags, tidying up, And I get to the Starbucks and I'm like, we're not going to talk about this. We're never going to talk about this. I don't want to talk about this. But you know what? It turned out later, I talked to a few years ago with someone who was on that trip with me. And I asked her, what was something that helped you to become successful in your business? And she said, seeing the humanness in me. Watching me do really dumb things like that, let her feel like, well, if she can do it, I can do it, right? But yikes. But at the same time, yes, girl, because she saw me struggle and do it anyway. No one wants to visit you on your high horse, but almost anyone will help you gather your shoes at the bottom of the steps and have a good laugh with you about it. Honestly, the fear never goes away. We just choose to side with faith and do life awesome anyway. The big thought in closing: the only difference between a hot mess and hotness is truth and grace. You have to be real honest with yourself about where you are messy. Then you have to decide where it's okay to stay messy and apply grace. Let it go, sis. Then you have to decide where it isn't okay and apply truth and some elbow grease. That's the formula for hot mess to hotness transformations, where you get to experience the true freedom of living as your best, messy, beautiful self. The 6 inches between your ears determines all the other measurements in your life. Now, a couple points to walk away with. Number 1, I need a lot of attention and I'm single. Did you catch that? Okay, I'm just saying, help a girl out. Number 2, check your own boxes. Checking the boxes set by others will never make you happy. You are the one that gets to be you tomorrow and live your life. So design it the way you want it to be. Be who you be. You get to choose between fear and faith in all circumstances. Choose faith every single time. Number 4, sit down and be quiet. If you can't spend 10 minutes alone with yourself, who will? Number 5, it's easy to lead those that you are yourself with. Perfection is impossible. If you try to be cute with the universe, you'll lose a few points off your ego. And even worse, maybe a shoe on an escalator. Number 5, dig deep and do the hard work. Apply grace and truth rule to your hot mess and unapologetically tap into your hotness. They know what to do, and they are always sitting there on your shoulder in those 6-inch stilettos and red lipstick, being a bad bee. Listen and trust the best parts of yourself. Now, I invite you to connect with me, please, on social media. If you do have a need for weight loss, try the 7-day sugar detox. It's a little taste of what it's like to work with me, and it's free. And it is available to you on a link through this conference. I want to leave you with a poem. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? But who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking, so other people won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine as children do. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It's not just in some of us, it's in everyone. As we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates us. From A Return to Love by Marianne Williamson. Thank you for spending a few moments today listening to me be a little vulnerable. I would love more time to talk to you. Reach out. I want to help you overcome your thinker and your prover, to get over your own BS and be the bad bee that you were meant to be. In case you didn't know, I love you. Mwah. Have an amazing conference.